Okay, guys, so as promised, I would give you some updates on the energies and things like that that's kind of going on around us. Um, gracias. Gracias. When I made a video before called like Stay Home in October, and like also I want to first congratulate everyone because yes, the energy has been super crazy, but there's also this like let's see. So again, I want to just definitely give a shout out to you guys because right now what I'm feeling was there's an energy of people taking back their power. So what this means is it could have come in a lot of different forms. So earlier in the week, it was just kind of like super stressful, or even in the month, people were crying the first 2 weeks. It was like a lot of distress. It was a lot of overwhelm, and people like crying for like feeling stressed, just needing to have their 15 minutes, not necessarily a breakdown, but like the verge of a breakdown. What I'm seeing after this is kind of like clearing space. So what kind of space am I even talking about? I'm talking about like firing your therapist. I'm talking about a lot of doors slammed, people kind of talking kind of crazy out of their neck, people just kind of like saying like, don't talk to me again. I'm sorry we can't do business together. I'm sorry, we can't serve you. I'm sorry, you're just kind of like a high risk investment or whatever. This energy, do not be afraid. Okay, this is like this. What happens when everybody is taking power back in their own forms, and what I mean by that, hopefully that clears out of the way. But what I mean by this is like, so everyone has to do the best that they can with what they've got right now. And this means like, if you have to stand up to someone and say, look, I'm like protecting my relationship, don't talk to me. Hi, I'm trying to get money from my business and it's been 1 month and I haven't heard back from you. That's okay. That's where they're at. And for others, it's like, well, I'm glad they left. This is really the time where people start being really appreciative. I'm glad you walked out of my life. But on the flip side of this, I do want to warn you guys, some of the people who are exiting don't really mean to exit. Maybe they're also just going through their own like static interferences and things like this. How will you know? Like, you're pulling for them. But when they're like, not even, I don't want to say pulling, because like when I think of that, immediately I'm thinking of Esther Hicks and how she talks about like there's a tug of war, and immediately once you put the rope down, then you win, right? So that's kind of what we're doing now. We're just putting this rope down and winning. And sometimes, like, I'm telling you guys, even I have felt this energy of just like when walking away from some things, it just feels so good, like firing people, not in a mean way, but just like, for example, somebody who I was taking classes from for surfing was not very professional, and I was kind of like, why are you asking me these kinds of questions? Like, why don't you try to get to know me first? He was more kind of interested in like asking me immediate questions without even building any form of relationship. When was the last time you had sex? What are you doing? Like, how about you teach me like, anticipating a wave, or like try to understand who I am and where I'm coming from, So these kinds of questions. There we go. So these kinds of questions, I feel like can be somewhat okay in some form acceptable, in other ways not acceptable at all. So only you will know in which the context in which this belongs. So what I mean specifically is like, I feel like with all this energy coming up, at some point there will be apologies, especially if you haven't done anything to anybody, like anybody, and you've like maybe been wishing people well. It's very different, right? What I was getting was like friendships coming back. I'm also hearing like lovers. There's like more specifically to lovers. So maybe during this time, someone you were like, who was expressing interest, all of a sudden just felt like slamming the door, or a business. And don't worry, especially when you know you didn't do anything wrong. They, like, it wasn't really anyone's fault. It just, A, was not a good match at the time, or two, they were just like, it just wasn't a good match, point blank, period. And I feel like that with my surfer, with my surf instructor, right? Like, there was other people teaching children, and they were like really focused, and the kids were doing really well. And there was another man teaching an older woman. Why are you asking me this specific question? Like, specifically pointed at that. Like, why? You know? So, so for that, I just feel like there's a really big energy, and this is why in the past I was really recommending, guys, just stay at home. Maybe get you, let's just focus on nutrition and working out and everything else, but I was not starting any new projects, and the way people are communicating and the energy, I mean, really, it's just best to stay at home and just create new friends, and just try to give all of your old friends as much space as possible. Because without this, I mean, I really just feel like I don't even know how to explain it. Whatever is about to come, whatever is like this energy of whatever is like this momentum that's building up. I'm not sure what November is supposed to look like, but I feel like this is really a time to ask everybody to stay focused. So the energy that I was feeling of just kind of like taking the power back is this like, okay, we're gonna move forward. We're gonna fire a bunch of people. I'm gonna tell people like, you know, we're not a good fit for business. Maybe let's just see who kind of stays after the dust settles. Let's just see what happens. Everyone's texting me right now. So that's what the message is. That's what the booping is. So let's just see what happens, right? Also, in other news, I was making a live video, and something happened where it said that like there was some sort of software on my computer which had been compromised, and so all of my live YouTube videos now, guys, I'm not able to up and do them because somebody just watch your privacy settings. For a moment, I was like not sure why I was carrying around physical books. So as I travel, I continue carrying around like backpacks like of books. And I even told somebody I was working with in May, like, I'm just digitizing everything, and I'm going to try to get rid of these physical notebooks. But now I see exactly, like, there was so much purpose and there was plan behind everything that I was doing. So this would kind of be why, if you guys make sure you're guarding things, just to, like, you know, warning, back everything up. Make sure you have paper copies. Make sure you have like copies buried somewhere. Make sure you're doing things that like are paving your way, so when you move forward, if you need something, it's not lost. Okay, if you do need a digital copy, you've got it backed up to like 3 different laptops or hardwares or something like that. That's so important. So that's pretty much it. That's the energy update. There is a huge shift. There is a taking back of power. There is the thing I wanted to congratulate you on mostly is because, like, it's not a bad thing to take back your power. This means, like, it's usually when you're taking something back, there's a recognition that it was lost or stolen or given away. I've talked a lot about, there's one of my favorite healers. Her name is Sandra Rollis. And I think she's out of Sedona. You can always find her YouTube videos. She has this cord cutting, and it's almost 108 times, I think. And it's just, I take back my power, I give you your power back. And it's one of the most powerful cord cutting exercises I've done, really, so continuously. And so if you definitely, if you get a chance, I really recommend to watch her, and just like really look into that as much as possible. But there's no shame in that. that aspect. It just means like everyone has their strengths. And I remember reading this in a Toni Morrison book called Beloved. There's a difference between being tough and being strong. So when people start crying, they're like, "Oh, don't cry, be strong." Listen, I say let it out. That's like really what a friend does. Like in order to, even when I think about working out or building muscle, in order to build muscle, things have to be torn down. There is such beauty in the breakdown. You have to be able to like purge those emotions and get those out. And so there's sometimes like an energy of shame that comes along with this. Like, why do I have to, like, why does this hurt? What is wrong with me? Why don't people see my value? I mean, this was kind of the energy that I was picking up, and I'm so stressed. And so I just want you all to know that you're not alone. It's actually a huge shedding process, and this is part of the collective. And so, like, you're doing great work. Please do not stop. Everything's going to be amazing. And you're just taking your power back. There's no shame in recognizing that, like, there was a blip or a glitch. Sometimes we have to do that, and it reminds us to be human. And the steps that we do to come back from that, to combat that, is really good things. And no forms of manipulation, just like being very clear on what it is that you're creating. Because remember, you can create whatever it is that you want. God gave us free will, so this is your birthright. Okay, you guys, enjoy. Thank you for tuning in, and let me know what are some things that you're doing personally. What things have you noticed? What ways have you been taking back your power? What ways are you standing up for yourself? And like, has there been any shame in your journey? Has there been any shame in some of the things that you've recognized have happened? And I'm feeling like when this does happen, like I can even give you, just before we close, a recommendation to journal your experience of something that you thought you really, really wanted. And why there was a tick inside of your body telling you no, 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 and every single no. And these are what we call red flags. Just write it out, and when you see it, just breathe. You're going to get a few pointers and markers in this direction, especially if you're seeking it. And remember the Sermon on the Mount, like, ask and you shall find, and knock and it shall be opened unto you. Seek and you shall find, and knock and it shall be opened unto you. And so just keep asking, what happened here? Is this person right for me? And you'll know. And like really, you will find a lot of peace deep within your heart and soul. And it may not feel good, the cords that you have to cut, but just let them be for now. But also use discernment, right? Because a lot of the cords also aren't just cords that need to go away forever. These are just like, okay, I'm also stressed right now, I'm freaking out, and you're the closest person I can freak out with too. But don't hurt yourself. Remember, you're not a punching bag, so just use your discernment. All right, guys, I'm gonna finish my coconut water because I'm just so thirsty. Okay, have a good night. Buenas tardes. Buenas noches.